So, good afternoon. So once again, one more session from the most needed concept for all human beings, and everyone should spend some time, because individual consciousness and family consciousness, these two things are very uh, two different perspectives. Okay, so individual consciousness, individual meditation, and how we participate, and how for understanding about the family, every individual should spend some time to cultivate the family consciousness concept in their own life. And there's one of the fantastic book written by Torkom regarding this concept. The book is Family, Foundation of Human Society. This book is rather most important book. Feel that is need of the our book. So, as in earlier sessions, we discussed something. So, initially, I wanted to read the essence about this book, Family, Foundation of Human Society, by Torkom. In this book, Torkom addresses the foundation of family life and the interrelations within the family that contribute to the growth and expansion of human life. He covers the major topics of the creative power of sex, the mother, the father, the children, and the family as a whole. Creating a family is presented as a sacred trust. As disciples, we see family building, family relationships, family relations in an esoteric light. We understand how the growth of the soul needs commitment, endurance, love, and patience, so that it is hammered out through our family relations. Your presence as a mother, a father, child, family member of any sort can be healing for everyone. What happens to one generation affects future generations of families and the society at large. When parents are conscious and able to be on the path of wholeness, their family is healed from many wounds, and all family members are able to move to new areas of expansion and growth. Now is the time to make a change in our consciousness and actively seek the actualization of the divine inheritance of each human being. A day will come when we see that even the higher worldly kingdoms all form part of our family relations. So this is why Torkom, he wrote extensively about family concept throughout his life. So we need to give some time to understand what family consciousness is all about. So today, what we have decided is rather a more need of our concept. So so today we'll try to assimilate and try to understand the most important thing every mother has, and this word is rather more important for everyone because we speak about stillness, emptying our minds, but all those words are okay. But the most important thing every mother uh, has inbuilt in them. So this topic is titled as Mother's Day, chapter 18, quite cute. How we need to really understand this word, how every human being or in a family, uh, if everyone learns how to be in that quietness, quite cute. So have we really know that art of uh, having a quiet mental body, quiet emotional body, or calm emotional body, and relaxed physical body. That is what a mother needs to really teach their children in every home. So this topic is titled as Mother's Day, quite cute. For me, the most important day of the mother of the year is Mother's Day. I believe really in my heart that the woman is the foundation of all civilizations and culture. Whenever there was a great woman, there was a great family. There was a great girl or boy. There was joy and health and happiness. There was also prosperity. There was also vision and future. I traced the history of womanhood by reading hundreds of books. I found that the history of womanhood or motherhood has not been written yet. Humanity does not know the value of mothers, the value of women. You can see on your televisions, in your papers, that the failed woman is advertised forever to give the impression to the people that women do not have value. In reality, there is a value on earth. It is because of women and especially because of mothers who sacrificed their lives, their love, their intellect, their choice to raise generations so that these generations bring joy and happiness to their hearts. It is instinctive. It is planted in them that they want to see their children happy, healthy, prosperous, victorious, creative, and beautiful. Because of this instinct, they do everything possible to make their children, which means the world, a place that can be safely lived in. Also, when we see crimes, frustration, failures, and defeats, we always find behind them a woman who does not know her own value, her own mission. The world will be changed if the women start to appreciate her real value and mission. I do not believe that man will change our modern civilization and culture. I believe that women will do it. I found a verse from Master Moria that is so beautiful. He says, the most powerful telescopes were women, and the first requisite for their protection was quietude. If you read the ancient histories, you will see, for example, that the Greeks, Chaldeans, Armenians, Persians, even Tibetans used to give a special discipline to the woman and protect them, especially when they were pregnant, from destructive, diffuse influences. They thought that the flower that was blooming in them should be protected physically, emotionally, and mentally from any kind of influence that prevents the children and the mother from doing their mission of life in this world. In many, many temples in the world, it was only the women who have prepared to be a communication link between the highest forces, the intelligent forces of the universe and humanity. When we say the mission of women, it is divided into three phases. One phase is that woman by nature, by birth, by divine ordinance is in contact with the higher worlds. Woman's emotional body, woman's centers in the head are different than the man's. They have a sensitivity which draws in the higher forces. When a woman becomes pregnant, the baby that is coming from the higher realms, from the mental plane, emotional plane, or any plane, builds a bridge within the woman and these higher worlds. This is not possible for men. Men cannot be pregnant. The woman becomes pregnant, and the soul coming to the mother is a soul who brings the influence of the higher worlds. A woman is a natural bridge between the physical world and the higher world. To make a woman really the bridge and to protect the woman from destructive influences, she needs quietude. Imagine women are involved in all kinds of crimes, drugs, alcohol, prostitution, shooting, killing, or driving on the freeways 5 to 10 hours and going to the market and workplaces irritated from the beginning to the end of the day. Then they are coming home. What kind of quietude can these women have? The civilization and culture that we have at present do not offer the quietude that mother needs to give birth to those children who will be the seeds of a more advanced humanity, who will create a better culture and better civilization. With the quietude that this great one is speaking of, for example, the first form of quietude is that a woman every day for at least 10 to 15 minutes withdraws herself and communicates with higher ideas, higher visions, higher revelations, higher forces, with angels, God, and with masters. If a woman does not do that, she will be open to attack by the noise, by the agitation of the world. A mother, not only one who has a child, a mother is a woman who really tries to alleviate the suffering and misery of humanity by all means, by any means. If you are involved in such an action, you are a mother. A mother is a person who tries to create those conditions in the world in which the development, the unfoldment of ideal people will be possible. These are the mothers. Even if you do not have children, it does not matter. You can have devotional, mental, intellectual, and spiritual children. I have seen women who cared for 500 orphans who came from genocides. They had tears in their eyes, and day and night they imparted wisdom, gracefulness, tenderness, compassion, and love to these children. Years later, when I talked to 2 or 3 of these orphans who came from devastating circumstances, they said the only mother we had was the lady who never had her own children. She dedicated all her life to educate the children of others so that we will have a better civilization and culture in this planet. The first form of quietude for a woman is to learn the art and science of withdrawing into herself from the noise, from the agitation of the world for at least 5, 10, 15 minutes daily. That quietude will make it possible for their flower to bloom, for their instincts to activate. Any woman who is a little distorted or disturbed physically, emotionally, mentally is a woman who has no opportunity for quietude. That is why, in my experience with my mother, my sister, especially my wet nurse, I saw that they used to go under the oak trees, under the pine trees, and sit there. They would sit by the rivers and pray and sing. It is quietude that the modern woman does not have. She serves the ego, the vanity, and the lust of men. They do not give a chance for their inner flower to bloom in quietude. Women should learn every day for at least 10 to 15 minutes to be quiet. Enter the quietude, leave the problems physically, emotionally, mentally. Your diverse, your children, taxes, and so on, let them go. Enter into silence, quietude, and you will see how your wounds begin to heal themselves. I know that there is no woman, and especially no mothers, who are not wounded from the toes to the nose. I know that. Your children wound you, your neighbors wound you, your husband daily wounds you. They are very professional in wounding you. All these wounds accumulate, and eventually you lose your direction and you lose your communication with the higher worlds. Create a situation, a condition within your psychology, within your heart and mind, where you can have a contact with the higher worlds. Higher worlds are your higher principles, your sense of beauty, your sense of sacrifice and service for humanity. These kinds of principles, your virtues, the love for your children, the expectations that you have for your children, for your neighbor's children, for the children of your nation, are the signs of real mothers. The children are suffering because of our transgressions. They are like cats we are bringing into the world without securing their future. It is so interesting. If the woman forgets her duty and vision, the nation fails because it does not have future leaders, future scientists, future creative people. Do not leave your children in the streets in front of the television asleep, or allow them to use drugs, cigarettes, alcohol, and so on. What happens is the nation does not have a future. We are spending billions of dollars to fight drugs and crimes. I propose that half of the money be given to mothers to take care of their children until they are 18, instead of suffering in poverty or working all day and being unable to good care of their children. I believe that if the mothers in the nation are taken care of, the crimes will fall 75% in 10 years' time. We must create conditions for mothers to be happy, to be healthy, and to live in quietude. The first thing then is to learn how to communicate with the higher worlds, with higher ideas and visions. Then bring your vision to your children. Certain authorities try to take your children out of your hands so that you do not have control over them. They turn them into unthinking individuals so that they can control them, use them, and manipulate them. Even animals care for their children, and the children follow them for a while, but our children are left alone and unprotected in many cases. The mother's influence is so important. The mother is going to give birth to the child from her body, also by giving birth to the child's heart. This happens when a woman has the womb of heart. The woman can give birth to an intelligent child when she is not empty, when she has contacted the higher worlds. Daily, first you try to find quietude for 10 to 15 minutes. Say, God, I am insulating and isolating myself for 10-15 minutes to really touch my mission, to touch the mission that is within me. Let me touch the spirit that is within me, touch the mission within me. I want to meet myself. When the woman starts meeting herself, a miracle happens. In the quietude, she sees the machine she has. I know many women who made their husbands masterpieces. I know many women whose husbands were alcoholics, drug users, criminals, thieves. But slowly, they gave a new birth to their children who were their husbands. They did not immediately divorce their husbands. They did not immediately go into the arms of another man. They said, we want to wait until we can change this son of a gun. They did it. A woman has something besides being a telescope, which is patience. God gave them patience. Use that patience. Again, that patience does not flower, does not come into expression until the woman finds quietude. Master Moria says, the most powerful telescopes were women. The telescope is communication with far off worlds. Do you feel that? Every woman has that. They are intuitive. They have foresight. They can sense things that are coming. They sense dangers. They see manipulation. They may pretend that they do not see it, but really they see it. They sense it. These senses are within women. These great virtues and powers are within them. The only thing they need is quietude. One can achieve quietude if she lives a life of virtues, a life of purity, devotion, service, and beauty. If she has the means to meet her needs, and if she does not complicate her life with unworthy deeds, words, and relations. There is the need of quietude, physically and emotionally. Emotional quietude is not to gossip, not yak yak day and night, not to involve yourself with hatred, with fear, with anger, with jealousy, with revenge, because these things do not let you be quiet. If you are hating somebody, you cannot still your emotions. All these involve you in a network of karma in which you lose your quietude. It is so beautiful to know that you need quietude. If your son or daughter make noise in the house, try to find quietude. Go under a tree, climb a mountain, sit there and say, God, I want quietude. It is so important that you really plan and work for quietude. Most of the sicknesses of women come from their emotions. It is because their emotions are so acidic, so powerful that they burn themselves. There was a woman who was having lots of physical troubles. The medical people were not finding out what was wrong. Eventually, I told her that she is going to take herself to a far away village and sit in a cabin for 10-15 days without a telephone, without a book, but she would have quietude. I explained it to her. When she came back to see me, I told her, go to the doctor and have yourself checked. The doctor said, miraculously, you were healed. Give time to your mechanism to be quiet, to calm down and heal yourself. Then you will become a telescope within yourself, a telescope for your husband and children. For example, the husband says, I am going to town. The woman says, no, I do not think you must go because I feel something may happen to you. Here, she became a telescope for her husband. When children are doing naughty things and they are losing their destiny and the success of their life, the woman can illuminate their minds because she sees something higher and far away and warns them. Sometimes the woman can see 50 years ahead, 100 years ahead, if that woman is trained in quietude. If the woman is not trained in quietude, she becomes very dangerous because she acts exactly against her own interests. Some women I have talked to have asked, why is it that we are really working against ourselves? This is magnificent progress. Lots of women still cannot see it. But if they see that they are working against their own interest, against their own future, then one must Tell them that the only way they will not work against themselves is to find a point of quietude within their soul. In contacting their soul, they will let their soul bloom and manifest and show them the vision they have. If a woman is crazy for parties, or if she drives every day a few hours on the freeways, if she is engaged in the courts or in tiresome business, she cannot achieve quietude. If she cannot live a life of quietude, she loses her connection with the higher worlds and sinks into the material world. It is here that she loses her wisdom. She cannot give guidance to their children. She cannot inspire her husband. The first step is to know yourself, to have faith in yourself, and to appreciate your God given gifts. Women are losing that faith, that appreciation of themselves, because every time they see a movie, there is a devastated woman there. Then you identify with that woman. Slowly, slowly, you become that woman and then lose your faith. That is the greatest genocide that people do. Yesterday, I received a letter. A man wrote to me. He said, it is so bad, this genocide, this nation, that nation. I wrote a big letter to him, in which one paragraph said, my dear, there are other genocides. What are the other genocides? It is when the movie industry or literature or pornography takes the purity of the woman's heart and disturbs and distorts it. That is a great genocide. Then you see that 12, 13, 14-year-old girls are pregnant with problems of abortion or fights with their boyfriends, families, authorities. That is a great genocide. Another genocide is to distribute pornography. That is a genocide. That genocide is really heavier and more dangerous than the genocide when people kill each other. That is why Christ said something very beautiful. Do not be afraid from those who kill your body, but be afraid from those who kill your spirit, your soul. Women are open to the genocides of the spirit and mind and emotions and heart. Who is going to save them? It will be those women who are appreciating their own value, the value of life, and creating the quietude in themselves, their children, in their home, in their husband, in their neighbors, in their groups, so that in the quietude, God speaks to them. You know from the Bible some very beautiful things. There was a prophet, and when lightning hit near him, he said, I heard the voice of God. Then he listened, and there was no noise. Then an earthquake happened. He did not hear the voice of God. Then, when it was total silence, God spoke to him. In quietude, there is the voice of God. What is quietude? It is a moment or a state of intense radioactivity which does not let any outer influence disturb your concentration within yourself. For example, if I am totally radioactive, no element can enter into me. Radioactivity is the release of your inner core, of your inner divinity. That is what quietude is. You are going to create conditions for it. If you are driving for 2 or 3 hours, stop somewhere and go into quietude. You will see how interesting it is. I used to drive with myself hundreds of miles. After driving 3 or 4 hours, I would stop and sit under a tree and go into myself. I would forget the earth, my duties, responsibilities, all emotional and mental problems, and just to be myself. After that, I was not tired. I would drive another 3, 4 hours and stop once more. It was not to eat and fill my stomach, but to contact the source of energy. Give time to be within yourself. Quietude can be achieved also through meditation. Learn how to do meditation. I wrote about these things in New Dimensions in Healing. I said in that book that silence is one of the greatest medicines that heals people. Try it. Have silence for 2 or 3 hours, 2 or 3 days, 1 month. You will see how things balance each other. It is in silence that divinity speaks through you. The third phase of the woman's mission is to create a new culture and civilization that are guided by higher powers. When I was reading to prepare my lecture, I read from a few very ancient books. One of the books says that the greatest leaders of humanity were guided by women who had communication with the higher worlds. For example, we had in this age three great women. Alice A. Bailey was in continuous communication with the higher worlds. There was H.P. Blavatsky, who was in direct communication with the hierarchy. There was Helena Roerich, who was also in direct communication with the hierarchy. If we have a real teaching at this time in the world, it is the result of labor of these three great women. The first quality they had was the quality of silence. Helena Roerich in her childhood was seen often holding a big book and going to a corner of the house or under the trees to read, to meditate, to contemplate. Great leaders come from silence, from quietude. I remember very, very well, every time I fell down or something, some would beat me or try to choke me, my mother used to take my head and put close to her heart, and there was silence. She used to heal me in silence. She never talked to me. You have experienced that when your husband or children are naughty, you do not talk because talk does not transmit what you want to say. Something better than speech must be developed within you, and that something that is better than your speech is your quietude. This day of Mother's Day, I really wish that every woman and mother here has a fantastic year, has a fantastic life, and tries daily to retreat into silence for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes. I know some streets of big cities where the women came together and forbade motorcycling from going through. They also made the speed of the cars on those streets 5 miles per hour. They did not tolerate loud radios, loud television in their environment. And strangely enough, when the children's certificates came from the school, they had all A's, A grades. That is so strange. Think about it and remember that a woman is a telescope to whom the cosmos is open. I had many students in my parochial school. The best students I had were girls. They were not only students, but also helpers to the teachers and organizers of special events. Most of them were coming from very cultured families who had high spiritual standards. They used to go to church regularly and ask questions to me about other worlds. One day in a meeting, I told them that every girl is going to be the mother of future humanity. They were in great joy because they felt their true mission in their hearts. And now I'm reading question and answer session. These question and answer sessions are also more important. The question is, would you comment on the quote that behind every great man there is a woman? Then Torkom said it in answers. Of course, a woman is the source of inspiration. I know this in my life. Really, Very truthfully, I tell you this. The first book I wrote was The Hidden Glory of the Inner Man. It was written in Armenian. So I published it when I was in Jerusalem. We sold some copies and people were very happy because it was an unusual book. When I came to the United States in 1959, I was reading it and a lady said, "Who will read this book in Armenian? This is America. Let us translate it." I did not dare. I did not have money. I did not know English, how to translate. We started the process of translating that book. It was agony because every minute I was fighting with this woman. I would say that is wrong. She would answer, "You do not know English. Do not say that I said. I feel it," she replied. "Your feeling is wrong. You do not know English. This is the right English." Eventually, I humbled myself. I said, "Do anything you want." She finished the book. I read it and threw it out. I did not really understand what she was saying. That woman had such great patience. Eventually, we corrected, changed, and published the book. Help for the second book came from a woman who told me, "Your whole lecture about meditation should be published." She was a nurse working in a chiropractor's office. God bless her. I have even forgotten her name. I gave 10 sessions on how to meditate, how to do meditation, and the science of meditation was published in English as well as in many other languages. The book speaks about how to do meditation. It is so interesting. I gave 6 to 8 seminars about it. When I finished, the lady who was the chiropractor's nurse came and said, "This is very important now to write and publish it." I asked, "With my English?" She said, "I will do it." "You will do it? Do not change it." "No, I will not change it." She worked, I worked, and eventually the book was typed and ready, and I said it is good. Then I gave it to another woman to check. The difficulty arose there. She did not like what the first woman did. I said, "Do not rewrite it. It is all right. As long as it is in English, that is good." She said, "There is mistranslation here." "Okay, you do it." She supposedly corrected it. After supposedly correcting it, a third woman read it. This time, I took the book and threw it out, saying, "There is no publication of this book. It is finished. Nobody is understanding my English. How can you?" I was the only one understanding my English. Eventually, we published it, and I am so grateful for the women, for those girls, for the mothers who for these 30, 40 years have helped me to reach certain achievements. They have published all my books. Now my daughter is publishing all my books. It is not my sons. My sons are busy, but my daughters are working on them. The greatest geniuses who came into the world, take for example Buddha, his mother was far more advanced. Jesus' mother, Krishna's mother, Muhammad's mother gave all the inspiration to them. They stood behind them and said, "There is a vision. You must go to that vision." That is how the woman is going to be. My father once said to me, "Listen and see the challenges of women. They tell you, be a better man, be a kinder man, sacrifice more, dedicate yourself more. You can do it." Men must listen to their wives who have pure heart, a pure spirit within themselves. Next question. Please elaborate about natural telescope. The telescope is a symbol of woman. It refers to the natural capacity of foresight, the ability to see the future, the ability to communicate with far off worlds, higher worlds, the ability to be aware of greater existence, the ability to see the path to the highest. These abilities unfold and bloom in a woman who practices quietude. The telescopes not only see the future worlds, but also the dangers forming in the psychic spheres of humanity. For example, the telescope sees a comet approaching the Earth. Quietude also means not to be involved with egotism, lust, crimes, drugs, and so on. Humanity loses the telescope or the guidance when women are led to prostitution, crimes, ugliness, lust, and violence, or to activities that are against the health of their body, heart, and soul. Next question. Does the modern life of a woman present a trap for her? Answer. The modern life can be a trap or a challenge, even an opportunity if the woman follows her intuition. She can create a new world using her telescope to guide humanity. Next question. Could you please elaborate further about quietude? Quietude is a state in which the nervous system of the woman is calm and is not shattered by noise, by crimes, wars, by fear, want, by lust and prostitution, by the conflicts of interest, by divorces and the courts, by noisy parties, liquor, cigarettes, drugs, and alcohol. When a woman is forced to be servile, to earn money through sex, or to focus only on money, she slowly loses the potentials waiting in her being and falls into the world of irritation, competition, jealousy, revenge, and so on. She cannot retreat into meditation, study, creativity, and build her contact with the higher worlds. Next question. Can you give us simple advice of how quietude can be created? A woman needs to consider the following in order to achieve quietude. First thing, learn the science of meditation and practice meditation every day. Second, do not fall into the flood of competition. Third, control greed and any tendency to materialism. Fourth, avoid jealousy and revenge. Fifth, consciously build the link between her emotional and intuitional worlds. Sixth, dedicate herself to her children or to the children of others to guide them to the right path, leading them to a beautiful future. Seven, challenge men toward nobility, honesty, and sacrificial service. Eight, organize women's groups to discuss problems devastating the future of the children. Ninth, keep her contact with the higher worlds clear through prayers, meditation, and service. The lofty mission of the woman is composed of 3 steps. To be a bridge between the higher and lower worlds of daily life, to raise the best children by the inspiration and vision they receive from higher worlds. 3, to help their husband or men build a new culture and a new civilization for the good of all. Finally, Master Moria says, the task now is to create a spiritually sovereign position for the woman, and the transmission to women of direct communion with the highest forces is necessary as a psychological impetus. Of course, through the new religion will come the necessary respect. So this is what Torkom has in this chapter clearly emphasized that how every day to remain in that quietness brings and helps people, and especially women, to be in contact with their entire existence. uh, Thinking about this concept itself is so magnificent. So, after listening to this and reading about this concept, every individual, especially women, should spend daily some time in their daily life in that quietude is what the message. So that once the women are in quietude, the entire family learns how to be in that quietude, and learning that the importance of that quietude helps the entire total humanity. That is how, the family foundation of a human society. Learning about quietude, it can really help people to build a new world or a new consciousness in this world. Is what his motive was behind that, and that is what the real Mother's Day is all about, and that is the importance of quietude. Please give some time and read this concept again and again. So this is what is the concept of quietude. So you have any questions? Then in the next class, what we discuss will be like uh, the meaning of masculinity, that will cover. So I don't want to club both the things. That is also most important thing, the meaning of masculinity. That is from father's perspective. This is completely about Mother's Day. Quietude is more important. He wrote so many topics about mother. He wrote a creative power of six topics. These things we have all the different sessions. Next time we'll discuss something about the class will be about the meaning of masculinity, because people need to really understand what the word is, what masculinity is, what femininity is. So especially I think so this is a very deep concept. How to have a quiet mind, uh, we need to cultivate that. So that is why I have chosen the concept family foundation of human society. Please think about that word, quietude. Can we be quiet for some time in daily life? And the second point is, are women are the telescopes? See that every telescope bloom and get the real things from the entire communication with the higher worlds. It's such a fantastic contact and communication. If all women can really be in such a contact, then everything will be fantastic. That is what Torkom wrote in his book, Torkom Solitarian, the Family Foundation of Human Society. If you have any questions, please ask or tell me in the reviews. In the next class will be only one topic. What is real masculinity, meaning of masculinity, because that is again a depth concept. Because these words, most of the people get confused. Masculinity means males, femininity means no, that is not. This woman, anybody, even males who contact everything, think about these two things. Our emotional, astral, or mental bodies, are they functioning like a telescope and microscope? That is what, small things become big things and big things become small things. What is the real meaning behind that? Are we applying that thing in our family consciousness? Is what the real thing is. First, individual consciousness, family consciousness, group consciousness. Three areas you need to apply on what you know. And there are so many beautiful books telling about quiet mind. I don't want to really go through that again, differences. The word quiet is more natural and more, it resonates with everybody. Everybody likes that quiet thing. But what is happening in this today's world, like why we are unable to be quiet? So start practicing that quietness, because a lot of people call, they say that they want immediate solutions. Even in the way you question, it means that we actually get our journey, we went away from that quietness. So how to re-establish that quietness in every individual and in every family, and that's a mother's role. And I hardly see any organization saying like, all, all people are playing the father's role. Nobody is, even the ladies are playing father's role everywhere, not in spiritual organizations, everywhere, everybody are playing father's role, dominating role. Then how can be anything be quiet? Everybody wants to start an organization. But we do everything, but there is no quietness. Of what use? Is it people who know the importance of quietness? Once something actualizes or manifests through collective work, and still that quietness should be there, not noise. Do you see quietness in all these YouTube videos and television? I never see any quietness. Listen to something which makes you more quiet. That music. Don't ask which music can you give. No. You search. Whatever music makes you quiet, that is that resonates with you. Not my music will never fit for you. So think more about quiet, spiritual quietness, mental quietness, emotional quietness, physical quietness, group quietness, which is with now having groups, it's very difficult. So I'm at least be happy that I love that word quietude. And even one more book is there, Quiet Mind by the Kurt Abraham, the person who wrote about seven rays in detail. He also wrote a great book called Quiet Mind, How to Achieve a Quiet Mind. The entire book in Quiet Mind exercise, complete exercise. And Q is the most important alphabet. Q means quiet. And we need to have a class on science of quietness, how to be quiet, really quiet, not just using that word quiet. See, the whole existence is always quiet. That is why the creation never stops. Okay, so give your reviews or feedbacks or think about this word quiet, and next class will be asking the discuss. Yes, Bharadwaj ask. Let's let them ask questions.